Okay, we are going to start off working with firm foundation. So we're just going to do some bone building right now. Bone building is really powerful and effective, really quite effective. So there's a lot of the National Institute of Bone Building, I think that's the name of it, actually shows that you can reverse bone density loss. So, and we know we can do that through calcium and through the right proper channels of nutrition. However, we can also do that by being really, really mindful about how we're stacking our bones. So that's how we'll start out. So come into mountain pose, Tadasana. I like to call it same standing. My right foot, I fell about 4 weeks ago on my right foot, and I can't bear weight there that well yet, so I'm just going to talk you through it, and if you see me doing something a little strange, that's why. So let's come into equal standing. So lift your toes up and press into the tripod of the foot. So the tripod of the foot is big toe mound, pinky toe mound, right in front of heel, and you can imagine that a little triangle is happening there. Feet are hip width distance, and then feel into the tripod of the foot. So let's work our way up. So our knees, you can look at me if you want to, I'm going sideways here. So if I lock my knees out, look what happens to my body. I spill out here, my glutes aren't engaged, my belly's not engaged, and that's all from a knee lockout. So all I'm doing here is softening my knees, and watch how everything just zips right up and comes online without me even doing anything else. So I'll show you one more time. So this to this. So we don't really ever want to be locking our knees out. So now we have a lot more space for pelvic bowl. So I actually want you to lock your knees out, or just kind of lock, if you can't lock your knees out, just kind of let them go. And I want you to notice that your movement in your pelvis. Try to move that pelvis up and down. So your hip points are moving up and down. Now bend your knees and do the same thing. Feel how much more space you have. So much more range of motion. So those knees really matter to how our hips and our low back is when we're standing and sitting. So find your hip points and kind of take your pubic bone and lift it up and in. So already you are really engaged from your lower rib cage down to the floor. Now wrap your hands around your rib cage here. It looks like this from the front, this from the side, this from the back. So what I want you to notice with your rib cage, drop your shoulders down and then steer your rib cage down. So if you can see this, my rib cage is really popping out here. I want you to steer that rib cage down and link your upper abs to your lower abs. Good. Once you've done that, drop through your shoulders. So I like to talk about shoulders like wearing a scarf. So it's like we're wearing a scarf and we're just draping this beautiful fabric over our rib cage. Our rib cage is our stabilization. Our arms only come into play when we need to use them. So we drape these arms over top of the rib cage, and then find the very back of your throat. So the back of the throat is the tip of your spine where it meets the skull. So that is where we're moving our head back from. So we just gently move our head back, and we feel this engagement happen in the low belly when we engage our head well. So take a moment, shake it out, walk around for a second. I'm going to get us back into that. We're going to go a little quicker now, only because, you know, we've explained it all. You can watch this happen in my body, and you can feel it in your body as well. So, tripod of the feet. Now, imagine that your heels are like jam jars. Real imagination, right? And you're turning the lid. So turn the lid and feel that engagement all the way up into your deep glutes. Now find that very softening of the knee. Now it's not a bend, it's a softening. Then engage that pelvic floor, or that pubic bone. Draw it up and in. Drop your rib cage down and in. Drop your shoulders. And now watch my head. So this is how my head looks. It stays exactly the same, parallel to the floor here. and then draws back. So we don't want to go so far back that we're military stance. We just want to have this elegantly balanced head right atop a really elongated spine, which is all, by the way, really being stabilized from our front bodies. So I want you to feel, that's a brain training thing. I want you to feel how your spine is being stabilized by your front body, not by your back. So I want you to go into your habit, whatever your habit is of standing. Imagine you're in the grocery store line and you're super bored and you're like, okay, when's this ever gonna end? And just go into your habit that you catch yourself in. So notice your habit, and I want you to notice the discomforts you've noticed throughout your body over the years. So a lot of times our habits immediately correspond to how our posture is. So for me, I've got a bad knee, I've had low back issues, I don't need more because I've changed my posture, I have shoulder issues, and there's like a little bit of neck stuff going on because I have what's called FHP, forward head position or posture, which is actually the medical word for it. So we can dial all that in and take ourselves out of hanging out in our joints. That's what we want to stop doing. We want to stop hanging out in our joints. We want to gather the correct strength, and we want to relax where we can relax. It's this effortless effort that we have within our bodies. So again, tripod of the feet, find that softening of the knees, pubic bone up and in, rib cage rotates down and in. Feel how that elongates the spine. Drop through your shoulders and then draw your head back from the very back of the throat. Now we're going to do this lying down, or you can find other videos online of mine where you are doing this lying down. But imagine, so usually I tell you, imagine flipping yourself up into mountain pose. Now imagine lying flat on the floor and pressing all of these things into the mat. So super strong, super engaged, and also very fluid. That's what we're looking for. Okay, now if you have a block, you can use a block. The block is just like a training wheel here. You don't need the block, but I like a block because I like how it feels. It gives us a lot of power here. So place that block between your upper thighs, inner thighs. Now, toes are still facing forward. Come back into your mountain posture, your same standing posture. And all I want you to do is bend your knees. You're dropping everything straight down, so no forward motion. Okay, I'll do this sideways. You're just bending your knees. So what we want to do is stack ears, shoulders, hips. That's the mantra. Ears, shoulders, hips. Or when you're walking, are you stacking ears, shoulders, hips? So right now we're doing an incredible amount of bone building. So you might start to feel your bones, your body heat up. And what happens with bone building is that we get very hot. That tells us it's working, which is wonderful. Because what we're doing is we're heating up the bones, and we're heating from the inside out rather than from the outside in. So we're actually starting to move a little bit of oxygenated blood through the bone, which is incredibly healing for it. So I have you hold postures and then refine. So tripod of the feet, bring that pubic bone up and in. So I'm going to do it again. If you need to see what this looks like, it looks like this. Feel that firm foundation. What we're also doing is bone building in the spine. We're bone building in the hips. We're bone building in the legs. Shoulders are nice and relaxed. Jaw is relaxed. Tongue is relaxed. Back of the throat, the muscle is called the longus colli, is drawing the back of the head back, but we still have an incredibly elongated, beautiful neck. And yes, you're holding. I have you hold these things very long. Bone building, you know, we put the pressure on well. So we stack our bones well. This is about getting out of our joints. This is about finding the strength of our bodies. Now keep pressing into your block here. And you might have lost your center. Bring that pubic bone up and in. Now if you need to come out of this and back in, go ahead. I'd rather you come out and re-engage than be in this kind of unmindfully. Watch your jaw and tongue. We're still here. Good. And then stand all the way up. Put that block away from you for a moment. Separate your feet, and let's take some some windmills, excuse me. So come up onto that opposite toe. Don't let your opposite foot be stuck, otherwise you're twisting your knee. All right, one more time. So grab that block. If you don't have a block, it doesn't matter. You're just keeping your knees directly in front of your toes. So you don't want to drop those knees in. That's what this is allowing us not to do. Okay, when you're ready, pubic bone up and in, rib cage drops down, shoulders drop down, head back, and then bend your knees. Now, what I want you to do here is check in with your low back. Is your belly supporting your spine? That means that pubic bone needs to come up. Feel how when you move your hip points towards your rib cage and your rib cage towards your hip points, how all of this zips itself up and you have such deep support. Now what I want you to do, if you'd like, is to press into the block. So it's like a little isometric press. Press, press. So now we're activating the glutes a little bit more. You should be shaking here, or you might be shaking here, and you also might be getting very hot. Those are both good signs. Keep going. Bone building. Again, I want you to come out of this if you need to. Don't compromise your posture. You can build up to this length of time. Just a little bit more. Again, we're squeezing, relaxing, squeezing, relaxing. Not enough for our block to fall out, but we're just squeezing and relaxing. Good, and then stand all the way up. Put that block over to the side and take, again, some nice windmills. So just coming up onto that opposite toe, protecting the knee. Okay, good. Now, step apart here. And I want you to feel this. So I really just think this is always very powerful. So kind of lock your knees out and feel how you're hanging out in your joints. Your spine's kind of dropping. If I do this sideways, it looks like this. Belly's spilling out, glutes are not engaged, knees are hyperextended, head is forward. So, as soon as I bring those hip points towards my rib cage and my rib cage down, look what happens. Glutes engage, center body is holding that spine up. So now you can start to bend your knees slightly. I only want you to do it slightly because we're doing this well. So keep that engagement of upper body. That's our anchor. That stays as it is. Bend your knees very slightly and take them towards the back wall, whatever your back wall is. Now, with your knees pressing back, feel how deeply your glutes are engaged. Feel how much you have to pay attention to your core. And I don't usually use that word, but it's your anchor. It's those hip points moving up, that rib cage moving down, shoulders are soft, jaw is soft, tongue is soft as we bend our knees. Now, if you have knee issues, I want you to stay here. This is very, very effective. Now, if you'd like to, then you can bend your knees a little bit further. So, knees are continually pressing back. Okay, I want you to engage that. Now, check your toes. Lift your toes up and make sure you aren't gripping into your toes. There's no need to. Good, find the tripod of each foot and breathe. Oh yeah, you forgot that part. So, firm foundation, bone building. Powerful, deep, strengthening work that's incredibly effective and very healthy because we're not in any of our joints right now. And if your knees hurt, I want you to come out a little bit. Now you should be about here. If they're not, then you're just staying dropped here. Now, upper body is just really relaxing. So your shoulders are just balanced right atop of your rib cage. Rib cage is dropping down and in. Hip points are moving up towards rib cage. That allows us to engage the head well. You're still holding. I know, I'm shaking too. I'm getting hot. Just let that breath move through as you challenge your body. Feel what it feels like to be embodied today. And again, you can come up, When you drop back down, if you do come up, be really mindful of how you're coming back down. So that tailbone moves straight down versus forward. So we want to make sure you're not forward. You're out of your belly if you're forward. You're here. It's almost like you're, I'm going to spell backwards. You're almost like you're leaning into a wall. Bring that pubic bone up and keep going. I know. All right, straighten up. Bring those legs together. Shake it out. Shake it out, shake it out. All right, we're gonna end our standing series today with my favorite lunge. So I'll do this sideways so you can really see. So step forward with your right foot and step back with your left. Now notice I've got pretty long legs and I could go into a deep lunge. I'm not. Look how close my legs are together. Now the other thing I want you to see is that my feet are hip width distance. So they're not on a tightrope. They are hip width distance. So my right second toe is right in front of my right hip point. My left second toe is right behind my left hip point. Make sure you have that there. Now, we're gonna go into this, and this will be kind of intense, but it's about accessing the correct muscles versus hanging out in our bones and joints. So bend your right knee. Now, if you have knee problems, issues, you don't have to go far into this to get a lot of effective use. So bend your right knee, take that over your right pinky toe, and then watch my left foot. My left foot comes all the way up. Now again, if you have some toe issues, just keep that dropped. What I do want to see happen is your left knee dropping directly under your left hip point. Now, notice what is happening in my upper body. I'm able to stay stacked here, which is how we create bone density in the vertebrae of the spine. Okay, let's get into this. You thought you were into this, you're not yet. Okay, now imagine your mat, you're pulling your mat or the floor apart. It's isometric. Feel that engagement of the legs. You don't understand what I'm saying? Just imagine that you're pressing into the mat, or actually do press into the mat and pull it apart. Now do the same thing in the inner thighs. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Pubic bone, you can watch my low back here. Pubic bone moves up towards rib cage drops down, head balances, ears, shoulders, hips. Now, just feel what's going on. You got a lot of stretch in that right side, that right thigh. Keep your belly anchored. Keep your low back safe. Squeeze that left glute. That's what I forgot to say. Now, upper body's having a little party because it's just chilling out. Yeah, right. Legs are strong. Legs are super strong. Just a few more breaths here. Now, if you look at my back knee, this is to keep a knee safe. If you'd like to go a little deeper, then you can go to 90-90. That left heel shines back like a flashlight. Again, if you need to come in and out of this, I'd like you to do that rather than compromise yourself. So keep that core in and strong. Keep that left glute squeezing and let your legs shake. Let that burning feeling happen. That is where we start to get into the real work. All right, straighten up. Woo! Take a little shake. All right, opposite side. So you can turn or you can stay the same way. It doesn't matter which. Bend your, oh, it's opposite. Left. Left forward, right back. Get yourself in the same situation here. Same thing. So if you notice, ears, shoulders, hips, stacked, stacked, stacked. Left knee goes out towards pinky toe. I'm on my toes on my right side. Now again, if you have toe issues, just bring it in a little bit and drop your heel down. You can even bring it into there. Now you can stay here or you can drop down a little bit further into 90-90. Let's build our posture. So bottoms of the feet, isometrically pull apart. Feel how your right glute engages when that happens. Inner thighs scissor together. Feel how your core engages, your anchor engages a little more fully. Now, pubic bone moves up and in. Feel how your spine elongates and your right thigh is getting a little bit of work here. And then head back. Shoulders relax. Jaw relaxes. Tongue relaxes. Our bodies let what needs to be doing the work do the work versus the mental tension. You can hear me, I'm holding it too. Keep going. Make sure you're breathing and you're staying anchored. So your hip points are moving a little bit more towards your rib cage and your rib cage is moving towards your hip points. Now that actually straightens them out, but we're knitting lower and upper abs together to sustain our spine, to allow our spine that incredible elongation through our bellies. Okay, come out of that. Oh, nice job, everyone. Take some windmills.